Sugar Plum Fairy. No. Saying looking for a podcast where everybody knows your name. You're looking for some cheesy jokes with people who are all insane. Find it on the Rebelcast, oh no. Find it on the Rebelcast, no. Well, we can dish it out, but we just can't take it.
That may be your best one ever, but I can't. What song is it from? Who's singing?
Yeah, I bet Matt knows it.
It's a Lennon song, isn't it?
It is a John Lennon song.
Yeah.
Okay, I could hear that. I mean, but I couldn't. I can't.
So
get the name
it was a song that was supposed to be on his follow up to Double Fantasy, the one that he released before he got shot, and he had already. Yeah, Milk and Honey was the next album that was going to come out. So he'd already recorded like 4 or 5 songs for that record, and then it came out in '84. So that's a song off of that record.
I was like, that's a really deep Lennon cut, because at some point, like you hit the refrain, I was like, I know this, but man, is anyone else gonna know this?
No one, yeah. Just diehard Beatle fans will know that song. Yeah.
Yeah, I figured it was Beatles, or I was like, God, probably something Lennon, but I wasn't clicking on the song.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like the tracks off of Milk and Honey. I mean, they're pretty good.
Well, and that Grow Old Along with Me is on that too.
Yeah,
I've never had Milk and Honey.
Yeah, there's 2 different versions of Grow Old with Me, and I want to say it's off the anthology one.
The Lennon anthology.
The Lennon anthology.
Yeah, that's really good.
It's really good. Yeah. I like it with the strings and everything.
Actually, a lot of the alternate takes on many of his songs on that Lennon anthology are really good. They're really solid.
Is Yoko on there screaming?
I mean, there's Yoko songs, but I don't know. I mean, it's I'm of a different mentality with Yoko, so that's kind of a non-starter for me.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
Just speaking of earlier before we hit record, you had your gum. I sent you that, didn't I? That little clip of Lennon during the Let It Be sessions. Where he forgot that they were filming.
Yeah, and he's got the drugs.
He pulls his drugs out. And he's just like, oh, and then puts them back.
So are you comparing Matt to John Lennon?
No, it's just, but the fact that he had to spit it out. It's the same thing because you see John like reaching his pocket for some drugs, and then he realizes it's on camera, and he goes, "Oh, give it to me." Puts them back.
That's why I did it before we were recording.
So did you bring some for everyone?
I did not, because I didn't mail it to you. I'd have to mail it to you. That's a federal offense. So
I also
is it really a federal offense anymore?
Somewhere, somehow. Real quick, Nick, before we get off the music. Because I know you're a fan of the 70s, 60s, 70s. But been really into some CSN,
Oh, nice.
Sometimes Y.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Just I had heard Sweet Judy Blue Eyes just kind of like playing on the radio one. It was like I was in a store or something, and it was about ready to get to the do 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 do. And we were walking out, and I was like, oh crap. It's like a math equation. I have to finish this song.
Right.
And then
break me off a piece of that Kit Kat.
Well, he's not credited for it, but David Crosby actually wrote that bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because like all the Sweet is a lot of little tidbits that Stephen had written about Judy Collins, and he just kind of jammed them all together. And then, but it needed a refrain, and so David being David was like, let's just put a harmony bit on there. So he just kind of went do 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 do.
No, it's really cool.
Same thing with with
they have that little
rock and roll. Same as Rock and Roll Woman on Buffalo Springfield. The do 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 do. Like he always had those little things where he could just do them.
It's funny you mentioned that because Amazon, if you have Alexa, has like a trivia contest. You can play against.
Oh, sure.
You can play against who's ever in your house. And my wife and I do it every now and then. I do pretty well in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, but Anything above that, sometimes in '90s, like 2000, Beyonce. I give this because I don't know. It's just like.
Yeah, once they start getting like, I do pretty good in the '90s and some 2000s, but yeah, once they start getting into the boy band or the more popish idol stuff, I'm like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's funny because we played one time and every one of my answers was like, because you have to guess the song and the artist, and you get double the points. Every one of mine were like. It was like they were the easiest ones to figure out. Cindy's were all like, I go, I'm killing you.
Even she's getting like Julio Iglesias.
Yeah, and, well, she was getting I go, even I don't know, can't help you. And I was getting like Journey and all this different stuff.
She was getting the John Lennon deep track.
Exactly, she was getting because they play like 3 seconds of.
Okay.
Or the words, so you're like going.
Now, I was doing that for a while with the what is that Hurdle? I used to do that. That's kind of fun. Like you just tune in, you just log into or you go to Hurdle, whatever it is and you kind of listen to the first couple seconds. But depends on what they were doing there. For a while, it was kind of like it seemed like they were rotating through the different decades, which I think it makes it fun for everybody.
Yeah.
But then I think they changed their algorithm because it seemed like they just were like, okay, we're just going to go for the younger audience here. We're not going to throw in this 60s stuff.
We don't want the old people.
But
I'll tell you a little bit of trivia I learned or spotted the other day. I didn't know that. If you're listening to Hey Jude, as soon as you get to the 3-minute 58 mark, it's very faint, but you can hear John Lennon go, "Oh fuck."
Oh, huh.
Really?
Because it's the
you
background.
Have to play it backwards?
No, you hear him say it like it's just it's very faint in there, but he was just doing the backup vocals and he messed up at some point in one of the multi tracks, and it still can be heard of him going, "Oh fuck." Yeah.
Randy
I'll
says
show you
Springfield Hurdle.
Sure, I can see it. Yeah.
Hurdle. I'm really good at it.
I'll show you, Matt.
Her.
I'll show you something about CSN, which is I always find this interesting. So it's in the wrong tuning, but to do Sweet Judy Blue Eyes, it's just it's really simple. And then 4 and 20 on the Deja Vu record. Same chords.
Huh.
But it's the same progression.
That song was playing the other day too, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I love this song. This song's good." That 4 and 20. It's a good deep cut. So
yeah. Well, I mean, he was originally going to put it on his solo record, and David and Graham begged him to put it on Deja Vu because it's really just him. And he's like, "Well, it's not really a CSN or CSNY song," but they just liked it.
There was a song on XM. I think it was the '80s. Gun, gun, guns, you've been gone so long. You've been gun, gun, gun so long. And I just kept singing that over and over again. And Cindy goes, "Will you stop singing that? Now it's in my head. I don't even know what song that was." And I go, yeah. And then it goes, "Ever since I met you, da 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 da." It's like one of those one-hit wonder songs. So I went on YouTube and said, "Gun, gun, gun." And so I was playing the song. And then about halfway through, she goes, "Can you turn it off, please?" I go, "This was a big song back in the day."
I would ask our listeners that are joining us live, but I think there's only one, if they could name Jack's favorite Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young song. But it's only Randy, so I don't know if he'll get that.
No, there's 7 people in the chat.
I know what it is, but I don't know if the listeners know.
I don't even know what it is. So
it's from the Deja Vu album. So
almost cut my hair.
Thank you, Nick.
I mean, it's sad. Like I love all 4 of those guys as artists.
How did I get? He's trying to mute me over here.
Oh, it's one of those really sad things, though, is that the egos of those 4 guys, they could just never make another record in their prime.
That's the problem with a lot of music.
Well, they tried. I mean, I know that they're trying. I know that Graham thinks it's a really good idea because they have enough tracks that they recorded together in the 70s but just never made another record. You know, like that they can kind of piece one together and be like, hey, like here, but it's still not the same. Great.
I'm just putting that in there in the chat in case anybody else, is like, what did they say?
Yeah, it was funny.
It was funny the first time. I almost got deja vu.
Well, that's egos are a problem in work. It's just not just music; it's everywhere. I mean, you have actors that can't, TV shows that like in MASH, McLean Stevenson left because he couldn't stand not being the top guy, and then so they killed him off. Right. So he couldn't do anything with MASH ever again. It was, I mean, they did it. I mean, because people were like, it was a shocking.
Yeah.
Who saw that coming? Because they killed him off, and then we find out later, years down, they killed him off because, well, screw you, you're not going to be able to do anything MASH related ever because your character has been killed off. But you wonder, and then he went on to do other shows, Hello Larry, and some other things that never came close to what he was doing on MASH. But egos. That's
what it cracks me up about a lot of artists or entertainers is that, like you should just be happy that it happens at all. It's like, you had a hit song. Just be happy that you had a hit song. It doesn't happen to hardly anybody. You're on a hit show. Be happy that you're on a fucking hit show.
That's what Nick texts me right before we record every time.
Right. Yeah. One. Yeah.
Trying to, come on, just be happy you're on the show.
Bill Murray and Chevy Chase.
Yeah.
Well, they got along in Caddyshack. They actually
weren't
on
one scene though. That's just one scene. It's just like so.
I think also there's a different. I think Chevy Chase is a lot of ego. I think he really thinks, even to this day, that he's just the shit. Whereas in Bill Murray, I think he just doesn't give a fuck.
I think Bill Murray has the same ego though. He's supposedly hard to work with.
Yeah,
extremely hard to work with.
Yeah. Especially with women. Women complain more about him than anybody.
Chevy was on
Richard Dreyfuss.
I like how John says Angie guesses Carry On. That would be a good one for Ramble On. So, yeah. Love is coming.
I mean, because
I do like that song.
It's great, isn't it? I mean, it's like a lot of Stevens songs. He took two things and jammed them together because Carry On by itself is just a little 2-minute song, and then he just looked over at the drummer and then and then he goes into Questions, which is actually a Buffalo Springfield song, and but it's a different tempo altogether than the Buffalo Springfield version. But then that's when where you go, it's just a different
song too.
Great song.
Yeah. It's amazing that we also get
the Hairless One.
Almost cut my hair.
I mean that whole 69 through 71, 72 period of music is just, it doesn't, not even just CSNY, like everything in it is so unbelievable.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's probably my favorite period of the Stones, really.
Oh yeah, absolutely. 68 through 72.
I think another problem with music groups is that a lot of them are on drugs, and so that alters their egos.
Well, I mean, sometimes the drugs help.
Sometimes it helps. Sometimes it doesn't. It just I think it depends on your personality and what you're doing with them. Because I know David Crosby, because he's one of the spokesperson for drugs for a long time. Like they've asked him on several interviews, about drugs. Like, do you think they helped you? And every time he's like, no, because drugs do not help you.
Well, I'm not saying doing the music. I'm saying keeping the band together because we've all been around people on drugs.
Yeah, it's a lot of people's blood pressures are at different levels. They just need to eat, take a nap.
Some people, their personality, and a lot of people when they're on drugs, they're self-medicating too, so they're trying to do other things. I mean, I'm not diagnosing people here, but that's.
I mean, it helps you. It helps you, especially in the 70s with cocaine and them not knowing that it was bad for you. It helps you. It helps you focus.
But I mean, even some of these musicians that were losing friends, along the way, I mean, like the Stones, thinking about them, like losing their drummer,
A lot of
I mean,
a lot of that was. Oh no, you mean it wasn't the drummer. Charlie Watts didn't die until a couple years ago.
Oh, no,
you're thinking of Brian Jones.
Yeah. Thank you. Sorry.
A lot of that's heroin. what was killing them. You look at Jimmy.
It's amazing
Hendrix.
Lennon didn't die. And
oh yeah, that's what
because
I think it was Paul that said that, or someone close to them. They said it doesn't matter. Like, you can hate Yoko all you want. But without Yoko, John would have died. John would have never made it out the 60s without Yoko Ono. It's like, because he was so deep in the 68 and 69 period into heroin that, she's the one that made him quit. The one that, you've got to get straight. And that's why, he wrote Cold Turkey and,
what she did? She went,
scared the shit out of him.
All right. I'm done. I'm going cold turkey.
No, but I mean, like they lost the baby, and I think that also had an effect on his wanting to go straight as well, and then they did do the primal scream therapy, and and then he had, but I mean, he was also living with the trauma of the death of his mom. I mean, like Stuart Sutcliffe, he had also I don't know, it's just like, it's kind of amazing that they just some of that trauma is kind of baked into their work in many ways.
Well, I mean, hell, you look at Roger Waters of Pink Floyd. I mean, his dad died when he was a baby, and he's held on to that his entire life to this day. Still, I mean, you look at he's one of the most biggest criticisms of the Russia-Ukraine thing, because he does not like war. Period. He's like, just because it destroys families, and it destroys, because it doesn't just destroy the current time; it destroys everything afterwards.
Well, I gotta wonder if there's anybody that really loves war.
Right.
Right. Well, the military-industrial complex does.
Sure.
Yeah, but you sit there and go, I mean, because I love a good war movie, good miniseries. I love watching them.
Yeah.
But then you sit there and go, God, it's just so fucking stupid.
I really only like Star
Wars. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because it's
Trek,
fantasy.
Star Wars, Battlestar Galactica.
Star-themed wars are really.
Anything with star in the title. Yeah, we're all for it.
Yeah, if Battlestar, Star Trek, Star Wars, I'm good. So.
Why must they borrow?
It's funny because I've been watching a lot of Star Trek. It's been my background show. It's been my binge show right now, my work show or whatever. And I'm into Deep Space Nine, where they're dealing with the Cardassians, and it's just always funny whenever they say Cardassian.
Right.
You're like, it has such a different, now I'm kind of like, I'm fine. I'm like, I'm steeped in it, so I'm just like, yeah, Cardassian. Like that's and the Bajoran, like whole thing, and the Dominion War is kind of building in the background. But
it's funny. I was watching something today about South Park. I haven't watched South Park in a few years, but I guess Meghan Markle and Prince Andrew, Prince Harry. Prince Andrew had been a younger person. Anyway, so they're upset, and they thought about suing South Park because
on what grounds?
I was watching the clips. Give us our privacy as they walk into a talk show. Right.
I mean, one is because South Park is no longer on Comedy Central, the new episodes, and so a lot of people don't remember that it's on. It's not advertised the way it used to be. But yeah, it's a good episode because it hits it directly on the nail.
Well, they're usually spot on, and that's what's so good about them, is that when they're bashing you, they're spot on.
I mean, the best part's the ending. Because I mean, even though it's hilarious all the way, because they're on all these talk shows like, we demand our privacy, but then at the very end, Stan, of course, is always the voice of reason on South Park, and he's like, goes to this whole speech, and then Prince Harry's like, "You're right, we don't need all this. We don't need the attention, do we, honey?" And she just like keeps standing there, like not doing anything, and then he lifts up her mouth and looking, and he goes, "Honey," and you hear the echo of this, this hollowed out person, and you're like.
I mean, to be fair, it's got to be brutal being part. I mean, I couldn't do it. I mean,
well, and the UK is a completely different animal when you deal with their tabloids and their level of scrutiny in the media
and the British people. I mean, I know when we were there and the Queen was coming back into it was like, oh my God, it was like you couldn't move. It was the whole area was just packed, and you're like going, all right, this is crazy.
I'm curious as to what Jim Watari and John are talking about, showrunner for, I assume, Picard, and I guess I wasn't kind of aware of that, but I'm enjoying.
I watch Picard. I see it all the time on Paramount Plus.
Oh, I've enjoyed it.
I think Picard, only season 3, which I think is.
It's going to be their last.
He's got a great haircut.
It's going to be their last season. But what I have enjoyed about it though is that because, initially with the Next Generation movies, they kind of stopped, but they had more plans of going, further with that. And it's kind of cool because you're basically getting some Next Generation post. This is kind of like their almost their last hurrah.
Is it anybody back from the?
Yes, from the original.
From the original,
from the original, the Next Generation.
I know what you mean. Yeah, I mean not the obviously the Captain Kirk.
Right. Yeah. No. So it's been interesting seeing all of those kind of elements coming together.
Is he okay? I haven't seen him on anything recently. Yeah.
Well, he's like 80. He's like 80.
I know he's like 90.
90. He's more than 32, I think.
He keeps working.
So he's 91, close to 91.
Yeah.
You see him on Twitter all the time too.
And Jim's confirming all will be back from the Next Generation. Yeah. Nice. So so it's kind of neat to at least see that come about, and but the different seasons, season 1 had a theme, season 2 has a theme. You could jump into season 3. You wouldn't, it does help knowing who these characters are because they kind of set the table as far as like these other characters that kind of make up the show or the cast in season 1, kind of what their backstories are. But I don't know, like it just depends on what you like. So this season though is
I didn't watch all the Star Trek Next Generation. I mean, I'd watch like an episode here.
You wouldn't have to have seen all of the episodes either. I think you can.
You can get the premise.
Yeah. So
I couldn't get by LeVar Burton's air filter thing. Just
well, his eyes got rejuvenated.
Yeah,
and I think it was during Insurrection.
Yeah, she gave him his eyes. She gave him his eyes back.
No, they regenerated.
Oh, they regenerated.
Yeah, because he was on that planet, and that planet had like a healing property.
Mine are doing that because I only wear one contact now. Seriously, the other eye is. She said the last time I went there, she goes, "It's perfect now," and I think it's because I'm not wearing my contacts all the time.
Yeah, that's true. Like last time I got my eyes checked, it's really this eye. Yeah, it's not that good. But I wear
here nothing. Over here, the eyes are going to pop out.
Yeah. This gets dented now. But yeah, I wear my glasses mostly just because they have blue blockers in there when I'm looking at the computer all day long. But the last time she actually told me, she goes, "You should probably wear your glasses less than what you've been wearing them." I was like, "Oh, really?" She's like, "Yeah, because your eyes will get worse the more you wear them. Whereas if you don't wear them."
Because I've been wearing contacts for like 40 years, and glasses and I wear them at night if I'm driving. But other than that, if I'm at home, I never even put them in. I just stay pocket. And every time I go there, my wife gets mad because her eyes are getting worse, and my eyes are getting better. I go, well, I got that super immunity, so it's just like I don't know what to tell you. But I think I'm just thinking the other day, I go, I think it's because I'm not wearing my contacts. My eyes are just saying, no, we need to get better. We need to work out a little bit.
Well, your head, and body shape kind of grows. So maybe it's like the way that your body's smashing it together as it's growing. It's just like
maybe.
Yeah.
Because I know
sticking to that science. It's it's called squishy science.
If I wear a contact like at night and we go to a restaurant, I can't see the menu because it's for distance, and I'm like going. So I have to borrow my wife's glasses to read the menu because I can't see it. That's why I usually just order, whatever on the top of the menu.
Oh.
Because I can't see it.
The cheese plate.
I did start season 3 of Secessions.
Oh, okay. Yeah. The season 4 will be out like next month.
That's why I said I better start this because that family is.
I did not like season 3 as much as season 1 and 2. I felt season 3 was kind of a spinning the wheels kind of season. Like it's still good, but it doesn't.
Did they really get nutty? I only watched the first episode. Did they get nuttier?
I think that's the way
more insane. And you're like going, It's been a while since I watched it. It's been probably close to 2 years, right? Since season 2 ended.
I don't know. Well, season 3 just was not too long ago. I think.
However long it's been, I'm like going, did they get crazier? I mean, they're like completely.
I mean, they're messed up. They're all messed up people.
Yes.
Yeah. Because they're all paranoid and they all want power. And
yeah.
I mean, the only one that you even feel any kind of sympathy for is the son who thinks he's next, up. But then there's always something he does too. You're like, man, y'all are just messed up people.
Yeah.
Speaking of messed up people, I'm not done with White Lotus season 2.
Oh, okay.
I'm 2 episodes away.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
That's
but
fine.
it's really cool. I like the layering of all of these characters.
You like the prostitute.
Because I thought
I like all of the characters. you like other. She has a name, Jack. It's called Escort.
Escort.
I enjoy actually as the season goes on. I actually kind of like how I like both seasons. I'm just kind of excited.
Which one are you enjoying more, though?
I think season 2 is better than season 1, but that's me.
I think season 2 has warmer tones. Like the palette of it is a warmer toned, like the colors of I don't know, just the way that it's shot. The Hawaii season feels more blues. Like there's a lot more blues. Surprising. No, I mean,
I got you. Yeah.
It did make me want to go to Italy, though.
It does make you. Yeah. I actually looked up where they were, like in that little isthmus to that, that castle. Something's really there. I mean, it's really all that stuff's there.
So I'm just kind of like, what's happening with White Lotus season 3? Is there going to be a season 3?
Yeah, it's going to be in Southeast Asia, it says it's going to deal with death and something else. There was what they're going to talk about.
And they're always
deal with death. Don't they all deal with lust?
Well, it's going to. I think it's more like loss, like as in grief, And so if you heard me say my theory, right? That they're all each season's based on a 7 deadly sins. So I kind of said, well, it's got to be envy or something for this one, and then Chris was like, I think it's gonna be about wrath if my theory pans out. And I was like, oh, okay, that could work. But,
I have enough trouble figuring out what's going on, so it's like,
what? Okay, I was like, I always think of Jack as like a TV, like he got his PhD on the streets,
Well, the problem with shows like this is I can't stop thinking. And I go, this, and my wife eventually goes, just stop, just be quiet.
Well, my problem with just about everything I watch is that I'm such a plot-driven person. I have to figure out what it's about. Like, what are they trying to show us in a movie or show? And so that's why season 1 was hard for me, is because I was like, what the fuck's going on? I was like, they're just horrible people. And I couldn't figure out what season 1 was about. And then when
season 2 is kind of like that too, though. They're just horrible people making bad decisions along the way.
Right. Well, I said when Matt left, and I guess I can probably say it now, because it's the first episode where the husband doesn't want the
son, right?
No,
find out the husband.
No, it doesn't. No.
Oh, you're talking about okay.
I'm gonna stop because I might be spoiling you, so I'm gonna stop.
Yeah,
but that bothered me, and I kept trying. I go, wait, maybe it's this, maybe it's this.
I can't remember what you're talking about from the first episode, but I'll continue to. I really thought I was going to finish up the show before we recorded, and then I saw that there was 2 more episodes to go.
Yeah, it's seven episodes.
7 episodes, and I was like, there's no way.
It's like, because when Cindy she clicked it on, and I go, we've already seen this episode. She goes, no, we haven't. I go, we have, but that's okay. And so she starts it, and they're showing the previews, and she skips it, and then she skips a thing, and I'm like going, and then finally she goes, oh, we saw this one. I go, really? That's it. This is episode 199. The broadcast just did episode 300. Yes, our next episode will be 200, so we got to make sure everyone is here for that one.
If we hadn't skipped a week, we would have landed on 200 at the same time they hit 300.
But I purposely skipped it.
exactly. Because
I said I'm not sharing my.
And then there's the married man years, which is a whole other.
Oh yeah, if we count everything together, then it's like
yeah. Because remember, before we were the RCAD, it was the married man continued, and then we decided. I mean, if 300, big deal. I mean, I don't want to be that guy that points out that 300.
That's it. Show, Jack's a misogynist.
I don't know how many shows the married man has done.
But that's a good question. Yeah.
But I did it. I was on the Survivor thing last night. I had a massive headache.
How many episodes of that have you done?
I don't know.
Okay. I'm just curious.
I think it's like the 10th season, maybe 11th.
Yeah, I was gonna say like I feel like at this point in the Jay and Jack, like just panthology. What do you call it? Panthology, podology, whatever. Podcastology. You guys probably have recorded more episodes about Survivor now than you have about Lost.
Oh yeah, I guarantee it. I don't know. They used to do 2 a week though, so it's,
I don't know.
Yeah, a lot.
Okay.
Whatever you do for 200, please don't do a fucking Andy update.
Who's Andy?
Who's Andy?
Yeah.
Who's? In fact, we're gonna call it episode Andy. 200. Who's Andy?
Who's Andy?
Andy Griffith? I have no idea. I mean, I've been on the Ramblecast at least. This show, we've never had an Andy. Now on the Married Man, there was this person that emailed in. Maybe I think that's what the person is talking about. Maybe
the one person I remember emailing
Andy update.
Or maybe Andy is someone who's associated with the broadcast, but not this.
Andy update. What? What am I missing?
We're missing out on our own inside joke, apparently. So.
Well, the one
we will give an update though on Nancy.
Nancy, a virgin that writes every week. Was it Ann? No, because at this time we're going to take a commercial break.
And we're back, ready to punch that V card.
Oh, Andy's a regular writer to the broadcast.
Okay.
Oh, that's right.
So
that's
why
right.
would we know? Why would are we being accused of being Andy?
Well, there was a guy that called in. It was the best email in the history of the Married Man Show.
But that was by a guy named Glandy.
No, it wasn't Glandy. It was some guy. Was it?
Because of Gland.
Was it Scott, Arizona, or something? Okay. Yeah, some guy from Arizona, and he has never had sex, and he couldn't go out with girls that had sex before.
Oh yeah, that's just some psychological issues.
Being on a hit show.
Yeah, that. That really.
Just be glad there's a vagina for you.
Yeah, just be glad someone's like, yeah, I'll do it with you.
I mean,
and we were like going, hey,
can you Ralph, not see that this is like
Ralph got pissed at the guy.
I agree.
I was like, well, you can't get mad at him. That's just how he feels. I mean, it's just how he. I mean, it's what he believes. I mean,
okay, but I don't know. Like somewhere on the other side of sex, you realize that part doesn't matter, and you've put so much into this one thing.
That's what we told him. And I don't know if he ever had sex.
Yeah, it reminds me of like teaching people how to draw. And how some people are like so precise. They want that perfect line. And I was teaching someone just the other day. They were like, they had several lines. They had several things going on in their drawing. They make this one line that's wrong. And the student says, I'm just gonna start all over. Right. I said, well, why? Just erase. You can just erase this and redraw it. But it's like some people get so focused on that one thing and it's got to be perfect that when it's not, the whole thing is shattered, and it's just like that's how do you deal with life?
That is like
that's me too, to the extent of a lot of things. Because it's one little thing, it throws it all off, and in your mind, you'll always look at that one imperfection. It doesn't matter. It's the same as like if you go to Rome, and I think it's
like it's crumbling. Great,
no, Rome.
1 star, Rome.
think it's one of
I can't look at these ruins anymore.
Get some new shit.
Yeah, it's one of Michelangelo's statues. I think it's of Moses. It's one of his actually lesser known statues.
Moses with his 15 commandments.
Well, the Moses
no,
one.
he's sitting, and I forget what temple it's in, but like it's perfect. It's a perfect sculpture. But Michelangelo thought it was so perfect that he actually took his hammer and then took put a little nick right on his kneecap just to make it not perfect. It's like because I don't know. It's an interesting story when you go and you look at it.
That's baller.
I bet you Andy is Scott from Arizona. That's all I'm saying. He's probably still a virgin.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been God, geez, 15.
It's been 17. 60 years since he slept with me.
Now you're looking.
I mean, I know Jack and I know who Scott from Arizona is.
Oh, I know who it is.
Yeah. I guarantee that he's still a virgin.
Well, get on down to Winslow, Arizona, in a flatbed Ford, and take a look at the girl who's standing next to me, because I'm telling you,
I got 7 women on my mind. Wait, only 7?
Only 7. Anyway,
it was the 70s. Come on.
I'm not trying to make light of anybody's V card here. I just think that at some point you kind of have to get over yourself, and
you do.
Just
move
on.
Sometimes you just got to jump in.
Sometimes you just have to go. All right, let's do it. It's like
it's never going to be perfect. It's never going to be the thing that you want it to be.
I think it was Ron White that said it. It was like, like men are men. It's like I could have a 95-year-old bar hag looking at me going, "You want to see my tits?" And I go, "All right." And then they hit the floor, and I go, "Okay, roll them back up. I've seen them."
It is true with guys with tits. It's like I mean, you'll look.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, you're like, well, it's that guy has actually got some pretty good tits.
He does, yeah.
Yeah, I know Chris was watching it. You should.
At this point, Chris would have just been like looking at me because I have what I said.
Well, then Chris would have gone on Pornhub and
yeah, sure,
some real tits.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
on that note,
I watched.
Let's take a commercial break.
Chris is in sunny
Disney World,
South Florida.
Because you're freezing,
Central
right?
Florida.
Right, Nick.
I'm fucking freezing. Yeah, it was negative 12 this morning, but it felt like negative 25. It never broke 3 degrees today. 3 degrees is as hot as it got today. So,
because I was working out, I had my grandson was helping me, and I was working on something in the backyard. And he was helping me because he insists on helping me, and I am dripping in sweat. It's fucking February here. It's like because San Diego, they had some snow flurries.
Yeah, it was 75. I know in Knoxville today, Tennessee.
It was 60. Insane. It was 68 this afternoon, and now it's 38. We dropped 30 degrees, and the wind that came in, you could tell when the wind shifted because it was nice and warm and all sunny, and then all of a sudden it was just like that.
The cold front.
Yeah, that cold front. So,
well, it's I think it's the thing that's been pushing across the nation.
Yeah, it did. It's all the north. Yeah,
because we're getting down to it's going to get to 40 something degrees on Saturday, which is my 34th wedding anniversary. But in married man years, it's 136, I think, something like that.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
because it's just we age a little differently when you're married.
When you're married, yeah.
It's like the weather's gonna be cold, it's gonna rain and all this crap, but it was really windy today. It was just like, and I was outside and the dirt would just kick up, and I'm like, I can't see, because the dirt would blow in your eyes. But this weather it's insane. It's been a warm winter. I like a little snow. I'm not gonna lie.
It's been cold as balls here.
Randy says it's 80 in Maryland today. It's like, and then you sit there, and I follow a lot of people from California, and they have no fucking water, right? They have no fucking water. There's too many fucking people living there.
It was just flooded. It just flooded like 2 weeks ago.
They're never going to catch up. because they don't have enough places. Okay, the water just runs back into the ocean because they don't have enough reservoirs to.
Well, they let it go out. Yeah,
exactly. But what does everybody on Twitter complain about? Fuck, it's raining.
Right.
Fuck, it's raining. Fuck, it's raining. And my mom was complaining one day. I go, don't you guys need the water? Yeah.
It's weird. It's weird though. Like when I was there 2 weeks ago, Jack, because it's been raining so much, even in Southern California, to flying into San Diego to see the hills actually be green. I was like, whoa.
That's because they haven't been green in years.
Yeah, but they were green and couldn't get over it.
But I go, don't build something that'll keep I've been saying this since I was a fucking kid. They need more places where they can trap the water.
Right.
Because eventually because I remember, like I said, when I was a wee little kid, someone came to our class, was teaching us about saving water and stuff. Because California is not going to have enough water someday because there's too many people living here. And that was when I was like 5 or 6. I'm now 60.
In those microclimates, especially in the Southwest, you got Arizona, Southern California, and even little parts of New Mexico and Nevada, of course. Like you almost, it's un-American, but you almost have to get to that point where it's like we're at a population cap. Like the ecosystem cannot support more than so many people. And that's it. Like, sorry, if someone dies or moves out, then we can bring in a few more people. But
yeah, I agree. We'll see. Randy said Northern Arizona is getting hammered with snow, and then Everyday Inventor said, but not Scott in Arizona.
Definitely not getting hammered. Yeah. Or doing any hammering.
I don't know. I don't know if Scott is listening to this show. I don't know. Scott in Arizona.
I'm sorry if I even know Scott. I don't think I do, but
I don't know
who said person is, but anyway, good luck. But
yeah, but you people
let
in
your freak
California
flag fly.
Stop bitching about the fucking water, the rain. You need the fucking water. Stop bitching.
Yeah. Okay.
Because my mom was complaining that she's a smoker. And she said that they no longer can sell menthol cigarettes.
Mm.
I got the hiccups. I'm sorry. In California because the kids were using for vaping.
Oh,
of course, that pissed her off. So she knew somebody, a store, and they had 2 cartons of cigarettes. Guess how much they were for 2 cartons of cigarettes?
$60.
100.
$220.
Wow!
Holy shit!
Well, I knew they did away with menthols, but maybe you can work out a trade with her. Like you get her some menthols, and she sends you, edibles.
Yeah, I never thought about that, but it's $80. She used to pay $80 a carton. I'm like, and I'm just like going, $80 a carton for something. I go, God, that's just. I go, that's ridiculous. But she said that now she's thinking about. She goes, you know what? I might just quit. I go, well, you've been smoking since you were like 12.
Yeah, so a lot of times it's just a habit.
You're now 80.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because she can't get her ashtrays now because she used to have this ashtray that would suck the smoke into the filter.
Yeah.
I mean, it works somewhat. You can still have that, that smell.
Mm-hmm.
It's like bowling alleys and stuff. Like anywhere that I used to bowl. And I'd come home and go, oh my God, I smell like cigarette smoke. Never noticed it when I lived at home, but I noticed it when I moved out.
Oh man, I hate that stale smell. I'll be in the grocery store and there's that one person that just has that stale cigarette smell. Like they're like a wet cigarette, kind of like, and you're just like, what is like, God. And I was a smoker for quite a while. So,
well, I know
8 years. So
really, that's not too bad.
I gave it up before the 10-year mark. That was my goal.
That's good. You didn't get the badge.
What's it? I mean,
well, things get worse for you. Like after a decade, the effects of it, get worse.
My mom keeps claiming the doctors told me I have clear lungs.
Actually, that's really possible. Like my grandmother, my dad's.
Don't back her up on this one. I say bullshit.
If she's a shallow smoker, because that's what my grandmother was. Like my grandmother had been smoking since think the 50s. And she went in for a chest X-ray, and her lungs were like she had never ever smoked.
It's like my mom doesn't. My mom doesn't like really inhale it.
Yes, I was saying she doesn't inhale. Like it just basically goes into their throat.
Yeah, well, my mom used to just be in the car with it blowing. You know, we're trapped in the car with the smoke. You know, my lungs are probably black because
she did it to you. Yeah.
Yeah, she did to me. Randy says Scott needs an ashtray like that. The Nancy Reagan model.
Just sucks it. Just keeps sucking.
And then Everyday Inventors, Crystal Lungs Now by Pepsi. So, but she's been telling me this forever.
Clear lung. Who knows?
Yeah, because she goes, you know, my mom goes, I have clear lungs. I go, okay, yeah, all right. Because I tried to get her to quit. You know, because in school they would show you when I was in kid, they'd show you the person that had the throat thing, and you throw you the lungs. I go, Mom, you got to quit smoking. You're gonna die. You're gonna die. She goes, stop coming home with that crap. I go, okay.
I would mess with my mom's cigarettes.
I put the little firecrackers in them. My dad's. You know,
damn.
Explode.
Wow. Okay. No,
have you
I
ever
would have
seen
got
those?
my ass beat for that. Jeez.
Yeah. Well, you know, they're funny.
What I do, and I do this, I still do it to this day, is I take the cigarettes. Usually when she's sitting there, I take the plastic,
and you turn it around.
I turn it to the top.
Yeah.
Put her lighter in like it's the top, and she's like, God damn you. Now I can't do it as often because I'm not, but she sets them down. I go and put it in and put them around that way. But yeah,
I was
there's no way I would waste a cigarette. No.
My friend Jess was born in 91, and we were having definitely a generational.
91.
Yeah, she's 30, and or 31, or I'll be 31. But anyway, we were having a generational conversation because
32,
or 30. I don't know. I still think she's 30, but maybe she's 31. I mean, I know math's tough. Yeah, I think of her as 30, but I guess she is 31 now. But anyway, she was. I'll go with the second part of the conversation. We were talking about cigarettes just for a little bit because I was like, I remember going and buying my dad a pack of cigarettes out of vending machines for $2.
Oh,
yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
like can you imagine?
I can remember walking down to the store. I can remember 8 years old walking down to the store, which is this busy road and stuff like that, where I was almost kidnapped one time. And but anyway, I could buy cigarettes from my mom. Yeah, one time I was coming home from baseball practice. It was dark, and the van was following me. And I cut through this shopping center and went up.
You've never told us about this. I've never.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm coming home, and I noticed the van because it's going down every road I'm going down, but I was able to pedal, keep up, I was going different directions. I said, holy crap. So this one place is called Genesee, is the main drag in Claremont. So I go up the hill, and the van stops about 20 feet in front of me. The guy gets out and goes, hey, can you give me directions? I go, sure. Spun the bike around, went down the dirt hill, and went into a place that he couldn't get. And he had to go around, so that I waited a while, then went back. So yeah, I could have been a statistic, but I was smart because I said I don't want to be a statistic. Because I would watch. I was at a young age. I watched the news and all that stuff. So
that's that. Your mom probably.
Oh, my mom always said, "Be aware." Because I taught the kids the same thing. I go, "Be on a swivel." I still do this day when I walk out to the park lot.
Oh yeah.
Well, in the 80s, the child kidnappings, it was like really in the news, and you were really aware of it, and it was on the rise. And I think just with it was like an epidemic that people were kind of like shining a light on, so people were kind of more aware of it. I lived in the country, but man, I was like so worried that they were going to somehow come to my farm, I guess, and like kidnap me. So I'd be like looking out that window, like I was watching.
So you were worried about that. I was worried about quicksand. So
quicksand was
tornadoes. No, tornadoes was that was growing up.
I lived in San Diego, but the quicksand was how many people died? Like
from TV.
If we're talking about natural elements.
Yeah. We were all led to believe in our youth that quicksand was going to be a major factor in our lives.
Oh, exactly.
It never was.
We did spend a lot of time in the woods, but I never ran across the quicksand. So
Matt K says, supposedly some couples tried to walk off with me in the early 80s.
no, I think he was saying they were in their early 80s. That's horrifying, Matt K.
Yeah, it's it's funny because I must have been like 12 at the time, maybe 11 or 12.
Yeah,
but like I said, because my mom always said, do never give it. I mean, if someone says they want directions or they're going to give you a ride, you say no.
Definitely, like in the grocery store, that was when your guard was up. But I and my mom was still very lenient. It's like, oh, I'll be over here at the magazine rack, or I'll meet you in the toys, or I'll be back here in an hour. But
yeah, we were able to do that. We'd go in Sears.
The mall.
I think I've told the story. I was in this place getting a haircut, and my parents went. It was like one of the, at the time I was like 5 or 6. It was one of the first times they started putting, stores were like, not just they had food, they had there were superstores, and they left me because the guy cut my ear, and they're like, and then they finally came back. I go, there's no fucking way in hell I would leave my kids. At that age, but that was just different time, and I don't think they liked me, so I think maybe they're trying to get rid of me.
There was go ahead. Yeah,
I was watching a video, I think today or yesterday, at some school in Japan that was probably all kindergartner age kids, but it was a good size, like 20 to 30 kids, all sitting around in a U shape. And one of the teachers would come in just completely covered, so they couldn't see who it was. But then they would have like a toy or food that a certain kid would like, and they would walk straight up to the kid and try to give it to the kid. And if the kid took it, then they would pick up the kid and run out of the room with them. And it was a way for the kids to learn not to do that, because they don't know who this person is.
Yeah.
And so the kids caught on really quickly to what was happening. And then so as soon as the person
and then they rose up and
they started locking arms. They started saying no, no, and it was so it was a way to teach these kids not to take things.
Cool.
Well, I think because we teach kids. I mean, I know my parents taught me you be polite to people, you respectful to adults and stuff like that. But then you're like but then they tell you, okay, don't trust, you can't.
Yeah, no, it's
you can't trust people.
Right.
So it's, as you're a kid, you're like going, but I think for me, I think my parents taught me, but I also think I watched a lot of TV, and I watched a lot of stuff where people, like a lot of detective shows when I was younger. And I think that's why I noticed the van was following me. I mean, I picked it up right away. I'm like going, okay, this is not, trying to pedal faster, and I'm going down this street, that street, and all this different stuff. But
wet bandits.
Yeah.
One of the things that between or at least in Japan is that they teach through that not, I mean, in that case it's example, but it's also like failure, like, oh, this, there's this kid's been taken away. So it's that realization, like, oh, we need to prevent this, or we need to stop this, or we need to correct. So through that action of actually discovering, oh, like I did something wrong. Now I'm gonna. Whereas we don't really encourage that. It's like get it correct the first time, but sometimes that idea of messing up and then learning from that mistake. It's just that's the best way to grow. So
yeah.
Well,
one thing they could do is if someone has molested a child or kidnapped a child, or they should never see the light of day again. They should never be back on the streets, because they say that they have an illness or disease, whatever you want to call it, that they can't be cured. So they're just going to do it again. Why do we let them out to do it again? I don't get it, because the justice system is so screwed up.
Oh,
I don't know if you read this guy, his 19-year-old who had killed a bunch of people, killed his friend, was out on bail, and then he came out and killed a reporter in Florida, and a 9-year-old girl got shot.
Yeah.
Why was he out on bail?
Yeah. Right.
I mean, and now he can be out on bail again. I'm like going, okay, what is going on here?
Yeah.
What is going on here?
Florida, man.
Yeah. Well, it's not just. I mean,
no, I know, but it just.
I know what you're saying, but it's like okay, people.
It's Chinatown, Jack. It's Florida town, Jack.
But kind of going back to it's, you always want to be friendly to everybody. And it's one of those things, like I get even paranoid now, like a little bit. Cause like I was on the elevator, I don't know, a month ago or so, probably in San Diego. But if a little kid gets on the elevator, little kids want to touch the buttons, and so,
hey,
the kid got button. Yeah, but the kid got on with his mom, and I got on literally a second before they did. So I hadn't hit my floor yet. But I looked at the kid and I went, do you want to touch the button? And of course they're like, yeah, so I was like, okay, press number 12 and press, whatever you're for. But it's one of those things where I'm like, should I even talk to the kid? Like, because it's just, I don't, know anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, I guess in that moment, you can always kind of visually read the parent and see what their reaction is.
Yeah, you got to be, because you got to be careful. You have to be careful.
I was at the grocery store just the other day, and my wife's checking out. We're in the self-checkout, and there's a dad there with his two kids, and it's like there's a little baby sitting in the part where they can sit, and then the daughter's kind of in the cart area, and the baby has the ability to actually stand up, and so it's standing up at this point, and I'm looking at it like the dad's not paying attention because he's just checking out, and I'm like, it's that moment. It's like, oh, I better, and I'm about to kind of say or do something, and then the little girl stood up and says, "No, baby, sit down," and like pulls the kid down. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, those are tough situations, because if you go over and touch the baby, hey, what are you doing, my kid?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, but
well, you weren't watching your kid.
Yeah, I was just about ready to kind of like say something like, hey, or but it.
Alex had his birthday party at this bouncy place, and this kid was talking to these kids. They were like 8 or 9. They were talking to my daughter, my youngest daughter. And I just went, what? And she goes, oh, they can't find their mom. I said, all right, let's go to the front. I said, let's go to the front. And I said, just follow me. I'm not going to walk with you, because I don't want people to think I'm walking out the door with these kids. And by the time I got to the front, they said, oh, my mom's over here. I said, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't going to walk with them because I didn't want people to think, hey, who's this old guy taking my kids towards the front door? I said, because my daughter goes, why would you do that? I go, well, I was walking ahead of them, and I'm going, okay, we're going to the front. I kept saying, we're going to the front. And I walked to the front.
We're going out to my car. I'll find your parents then.
You want to see my van?
Do you like candy?
I remember being, this was probably like 12 or 13, and I was in it was just one of those drugstore kind of places, like, not CVS like what we have today, but, an all-purpose general store, but without the groceries. You know what I mean? So I don't know how better to describe it, but, they'd have a pharmacy, but they'd have like, kind of like how you have Meijer, or not Meijer, but
Oscar.
Well, I'm just saying, like, you don't have a lot of groceries. It's just kind of more goods, home goods, and as well as like, some dry foods. And anyway, I'm in one of these places, and I happen to be out of school. It's a weekday, but I'm out of school because my dad is actually visiting. It's kind of I was living in Washington State at the time, so I remember kind of where I was at. And I just happened to be in this store because I wanted to check out the toy section, and I'm not with my parents. And this clerk was just like, hey, what are you doing here? You're supposed to be in school. You need to come, and I was just like, I don't need to no. Like, it was just kind of like one of those, like, you don't need to tell me what to do.
Yeah,
like,
you don't tell me what.
Yeah, I was just like, what? No. Like, and I just left because I was just like, no, whatever. Like, but he thought I was like skipping school, and he was, he was going to get me in trouble or something. I'm like, what? It's not your job to police childhood delinquency, dude.
Right.
Like,
I would skip school. We'd go to this place, Straw Hat Pizza. You skipping school? We go, yeah. We just didn't care.
Runaway train, never
coming back.
It's just like, what?
I can remember at Disneyland. I was like 8, and I was with my 2 sisters and my mom, and my 2 younger sisters. and this guy was, I guess, taking a liking to me. He was really weird. He was kept trying to get close to me. And my mom was like going, and my mom's like, she's small, but she's like, you don't fuck with her. And she's like, get away. Get away.
She's got clear lungs.
Yeah, she has clear lungs. She can outrun you.
Bam.
But she,
wow.
It was she kept pulling me closer, and my sister's closer. I remember that too. The guy just kept coming towards us. And I'm like going,
And that man's name was Walt Disney.
Yeah, he wanted me to be in a movie, but
who knew?
My mom ruined everything for me.
Yeah,
I said, Mom, he's got cigarettes. Come on. Walt liked to smoke. He didn't have clear lungs.
Oh, so many of those really. I mean, one of the things as I do a lot of research is I'm always like looking up like how certain people died or how long they lived, and yeah, there's just a ton of people that you're like, yeah, smoking wasn't good for you.
No.
Or you know many of those.
It's still not.
Many of those early professions, like you would be in an office with tons of people smoking, like Mad Men.
Mad Men. They show the doctor sitting there going, all right, let me check.
But we're talking about like 30 years before Mad Men, even. And yeah, you'd be
or chewing tobacco.
It's like the beginning of Mrs. Doubtfire with Robin Williams when he's doing the cartoon voiceover, and the cartoon is smoking, and he doesn't want to do the bit because he's like, aren't you guys worried about the message it's sending to kids? And he looks back in the room and all the guys are back there smoking, he's like, the crowd.
Well, we used to have candy cigarettes and
They had
candy gum cigarettes, and you blow
the powder out. Yeah,
powder would come out. It's like
even my kids that have never seen either of their parents model cigarettes, and we've always they know smoking is bad and everything like that, but it's a kid thing where they want to, all right, see, it's like a prop. Right. You can't help but like want to like imitate that or mimic that, and I've seen them do that, and they'll put different things in their mouth.
Another thing I did with my mom is that when we were on the same bowling team, and as adults, and I would put like 4 or 5 cigarettes in my mouth, light them all up, and go up and bowl. I'm halfway, because everyone there smoked. Yeah. That was the big thing about bowling back then. Is it was the one thing where people could say, "Hey, I'm an athlete," because I'm bowling. It's like smoking, so I'd put all these cigarettes in my mouth. Of course, my mom would get pissed that I wasted the cigarettes, but
my dad's a lifelong smoker. My dad's been smoking since he was like 16, 15, something like that, and he still smokes to this day. And he always lied to my mom for the last 20, 30 years, like, oh yeah, I'm quitting, I'm not smoking anymore, and then he would always smoke around me. And finally, I just looked at him. I was like, you know what? I don't care. Because he knows how I am. I'm like, look, I was like, it's your life. You want to smoke, you go right ahead.
It's your life. Now or never.
Anyway, but I was like, look. I was like,
did I offend you with the John Boy?
You did, yeah. But it was, I was like, I was just honest with him, man. I mean, that's just how I am. I was like, look. He was like, you can smoke all you want. I don't care. I was like, but once you're on an oxygen tank, or once you have some kind of smoke-related illness, I'm not going to feel sorry for you one bit. I'm not going to help you.
Man, that's cold-blooded.
Wow.
But that's the way I am.
But he didn't quit, though, right?
He didn't quit. That's the thing. I was like, look, but he wanted me to like go along with, kind of like the subtle lie to my mom. I'm going to smoke, but I'm telling her I'm not smoking. And I was like, look, I don't care what you do. I was like, but I'm not going to feel sorry for you either.
I know when I was a kid, about probably 11 or 12. Rumor was out if you Marlboro, if you found like the bottom of it would have like a V number or a B number. If you collected so many V8s,
oh right, yeah, right,
you'd get free packs of cigarettes. So what we did is we would, all our parents smoked, so we would gather them. But then it became a game. Mm-hmm. How many V8s could you find? And if you saw like a Marlboro pack on the ground, it's like,
right, you pick it up.
No, you're literally fighting for the Marlboro pack because you wanted to say, okay, I got 39 so far, and you keep track of how many, and you had to prove it too. You couldn't just say, hey, I got my 39th Marlboro V8. Let me see it.
That's what's crazy to me now when I look back on it, of like all the Joe Cool stuff and the Marlboro Man and all those promos they did. to get kids hooked. It's like you can get a free cap, you can get a free poster, you can get all
Camel
this
Cash.
stuff. Camel Cash. That's what I was saying. Yeah, and and I remember even though I never smoked a day in my life, it was like you still wanted to get all the stuff to get the cool shit. And you're like,
yeah, but that never made me want to smoke.
No,
it just didn't. I mean, but to be honest with you, the best to get the V8, the gold packs always had. It seemed like the V8. So that was if you saw a V8, you're literally getting stitches so you can get the V8. And it's almost like remember Icy used to have the different sizes would have like a little thing. Maybe you guys don't remember this, but you have like 3 little things you cut off and you could save so much to turn in for prizes and stuff like that.
For what?
For like an Icy, you remember the polar bear?
Oh yeah.
The Slurpees, yeah.
Slurpees. No, not Slurp. That's 7-Eleven.
The proof of purchase, you mean?
But yeah, I know what you mean.
You had a thing on the side that had and you would cut them.
Oh.
And then you could save them for. I had like hundreds of them.
What company was this for?
Icy.
No, the Ices. Like there was the frozen drinks you get. It's
the blue cup with the polar bear on it, and it had like these little red things on the side.
I think I remember.
I don't know why I'm doing this. Red things on the side.
Yeah, you keep doing that. For everybody that's not listening, he keeps motioning about the size of his penis up in the air. And you just made your hand larger.
Whoa!
Anyway, I found a sad fact today.
We were on such a positive roll.
No, I saw John.
Because the best place for ices was Kmart. What have you? You went to Kmart with your mom.
Our high school had ices. We had an icy in the high school.
We weren't that advanced.
So I would have a pina colada icy for my lunch.
Pina colada, cheating on your husband.
What?
It's a song about cheating.
Marlboro was never my brand. I smoked Camel Lights. That was
Dale's Jack.
Sometimes
Marlboro.
I would smoke the Camel.
Dale was Jack's Marlboro man, getting him to smoke. No.
And my grandfather, he smoked Camels too, so there's probably a bit of a connection.
My grandfather smoked Camels.
My dad was cheap. He smoked Vantage.
I was just like, if I'm smoking
cheap cigarettes,
Yeah.
My grandmother smoked Virginia Slims.
What about Lucky Strikes?
I don't. But there was a time where you couldn't find Lucky Strikes, and they kind of came back.
I tried them a couple times. I always went back to Camel Lights. Now, if I have a cigarette, and every now and then I'll smell it, the way that it's burning in a way.
Now, if you have a cigarette.
No. I'll get back to that. I'll get back to this.
Okay, all right.
But if I've been out drinking or something like that, you might smell. You're like, oh, that smells good, and I haven't had one for probably like 10 years. I think I was out drinking with some buddies or whatever, and I was like, oh, that smells good. I'm just gonna have a drag. I will throw up. I will have a horrible headache. It's almost like poison to me now.
Well, that's good.
Like I can't. Yeah, it's just like
it's
not
just good that you're poison, but
yeah.
What
Matt
about
K,
Tipperellos?
the non-filter.
Tipperellos?
I would do the non-filter. I don't remember Tipperellos. My mom would smoke those Virginia Slims, and so
I'm old enough to remember the commercials. So.
Sometimes I would smoke those with her. So
those were the fancy lady cigarettes.
Yeah. Yeah, I would break off the filter and just smoke it. Like, and my mom was like, "It looks like a joint when you smoke it like that," and I was like, "Really?"
I got to roll the ends.
Well, wait.
Anyway, I quit a year after she passed away. It was kind of like it was. I wanted to quit after she died.
It was
hard,
right? I remember
but
you talking about
it was too hard. Yeah, and I waited.
Well,
it was hard to quit, but it was. I was already depressed, and I just was like, I can't do this right now, and so I waited.
Right.
Waited a year, and by that time I had met Denise. So and that helped.
She was a non-smoker.
She was a non-smoker. That helped, And remember, we basically just drank a lot of wine. I did the patch, so I'm glad that vaping wasn't around because I probably would have tried that and just kept with vaping. So because of the habit.
A lot of pot like Chris did until he quit.
I did that as well. I did. No, I did. I mean, I was, I would, because but the blow pops, Those were
Oh,
one of
yeah,
the
yeah.
things that,
yeah.
and then cough drops because they have the menthol, even though I
Mhm.
didn't smoke menthol.
Mhm.
Just any oral kind of thing to kind of get past it. And,
That's what, especially lifelong smokers. That's what I've always heard. And my dad included. It's just like it's not the need for the cigarette. It's just the habit of the oral thing. If like I need something for my hand to do, I need something for.
That's what my mom says. She goes, it's just habit at this point. I go,
yeah,
but it's an expensive. Because she gets pissed and she goes, you know, alcohol kills more people out there, you know, but yet they keep, you know, you can buy alcohol.
That's
everywhere.
true. Alcohol, you can buy more than weed.
You're not wrong. I go, but we tried to stop it, and look what happened. You have all these crime bosses because
you can drink yourself to death.
Yeah, my grandparents.
You can only take so much pot until you just fall asleep.
Yeah,
like it's kind of and it's amazing that you're just kind of.
But she gets mad because, you know, people. She goes, they're trying in California. They're trying to keep people from smoking in front of stores. I go, well, to be honest with you, if you're a non-smoker and you walk into this haze of cigarette smoke, it's disgusting.
It is annoying too, because I know in California it's just like you're just driving along and you go through a pot cloud, you know, the remnants of a pot cloud. Like, don't worry, Nick's just opening up a candy bar.
But she gets mad about that. She goes, well, I'm a polite smoker. Yeah, it was pretty bad. She's a polite smoker. I go, yeah, you're a polite smoker, but most, and I don't want to label people, but most smokers are not. Most people are not polite.
Yeah.
And I know when I'm in Vegas and, you know, you're sitting at a table and no one's smoking, and you got that one person goes, hey, cigarette girl, can I get? And you're like going, oh, come on, no. What, you're going to be upset if I smoke? I go, yes. And they go, fuck it, and they smoke anyway. Fuck it, go to another table. I go, aren't you nice, asshole? But I remember going in Vegas. They had a smokeless casino.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
And you walk in, you go,
wow, I can see. Oh, I can see. I go, those people are ugly.
What is this stuff? Oh, wait.
Turn down the lights. It's too bright. Woo. Those women are not as hot.
No, they look better when there's a haze.
They need that filter. It gives them that nice old-timey glossy sheen.
But it is weird because, you know, because especially by the slot machines, you always have this. It seems like everybody. I think it's mandatory that you play the slot machines. You have to smoke.
It's the physical addiction.
Yeah, cigarettes in the left hand and the lever and the coins are in the right. Yeah, it's just.
It's like it's crazy. But I'd be like, oh my god, I can't breathe. And I can be obnoxious. So it's like,
no, you don't. Just you're being hard on yourself.
I know, and I know I've told this story before. We had this. We met this guy who's from Bakersfield. He was a tight end. He was a guy that was like 6'5".
Describe him more. This tight end.
Well, he was Big Joe. This was his hand. This was one hand.
You can't have both.
Big
Either
Joe
you have a tight end or you have a Big Joe.
Okay, but he was a tight for the Raiders. He got cut, so he hated the Raiders.
Oh,
and
thus the blood feud began.
And so then, anyway, this is when I was still a Charger fan.
Big Joe.
And so this Raider fan sits at the table, and I look over. I go, "What are you doing here?" He goes, "I'm gonna play some cards." I go, "I don't think so." He goes, "Why?" I go, "Because Big Joe doesn't like the Raiders." No, I'm just fucking around. Big Joe,
right.
He's a big Samoan guy, and he looks at him and he goes, "Nope, hate the Raiders." And the guy goes, the guy looks at him and goes, "But," he goes, "I don't like the Raiders." So the guy gets up and leaves. I felt bad, but
that's probably your best Raiders story.
Yeah,
I've heard. I don't know. Miami Mike's here. He's heard a lot of them too.
I have another Raider story I'll tell after in a minute. But one time, Big Joe was on him and his wife were on their anniversary. We're playing blackjack. She's sitting at the last seat, the third base seat. I'm in the middle. He's right there, and they're fighting. And she kept going, "Well, I'm sure Jack takes my side." I go, "No." And I'm looking at her. I go, "Maybe, No. I go, do you guys want to sit together? Nope. I'm like going, I go, I don't want to die. He was a great guy, though. It was like,
best not to get caught between a rock and a Big Joe.
But when we would go out there, we would send him a message saying, "Hey, we're going," and he'd meet us. Him and his wife would meet us out there. He was a great guy, though. But it was great because you could talk all this shit.
Oh yeah,
you had Big Joe to protect you. So.
Right.
Hey, have you met Big Joe? Sorry. Oh, it was fun. But I was going to say about Raider Story, there was a dealer out there, and she goes, "Oh, my brother, it was a Raider fan." I go, "Oh, he's probably in jail." She goes, "No, he's dead." But I go, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." She goes, "Well, he was heading that way anyway." But it's just I go, God, stop talking.
It's been a couple times in my life where
I remember her name was Angie because we'd go, Angie. That's when we've been drinking. So
sure.
Anyway,
no, I don't have any more Raiders stuff there. Is that the, like, what do you think, of that album, Goat's Head Soup? It's kind of a mixed bag, right?
I've never liked Goat's Head Soup. Angie is the clear single off of it for sure.
Yeah.
But there's times where I'll listen to that record and they're like, oh yeah, that song's not too bad, but it's not a record that I will just say
I'm not a fan of the
Stones,
especially the early stuff I like, but I don't like the later stuff.
No one likes the early stuff.
I like the early stuff because they're always good.
Talking about 64?
No, they're always good in Vietnam movies.
It has that Heartbreaker, and then I think Dancing with Mr. D.
Dancing with Mr. D is good, and then there's another Silver something that's pretty good on there.
Silver Train.
Yeah. But it's a weird record, It was recorded in a really shitty. It was recorded in a really shitty Jamaican studio. The vibe just wasn't there.
Yeah, I mean, to me, Exile on Main Street is it's the last.
And even that's a happy accident to them. Like,
sure.
Because they kind of didn't know what to do. Mick Taylor had left, and they just kind of were just holed up in France and just recording shit. I mean, some of those tracks were left over from Sticky Fingers, but
I mean, I like Some Girls. That probably is like the next kind of like album that I'll gravitate towards after that 7. But to me, like 68 to 72 is peak Stones.
No, it's not you.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the Mick Taylor era is definitely the highlight. Yeah. And then some people have even argued
I don't get
Mick
Jagger as a sex symbol. I don't get it.
Right. It's just I just don't get it, man. Yeah. But many people have argued that Some Girls is really a Mick Jagger solo record because Keith was really just still in the grips of heroin addiction, and he wasn't coming up with any good creative material.
He's still alive, right?
And so, all of them except Charlie Watts.
But I mean, that's got Shattered, Beast of Burden.
That's what I mean. But like, if you listen, I mean, those are more kind of you can tell they're more influenced by Mick Jagger than they are Keith. Like, they're not really guitar riff songs, as everything else was before.
And then they got the cover, the Just My Imagination.
Yeah.
Right? Isn't that a cover? Yeah.
I guess.
Anyway.
I know Chris will want to talk about it when he gets back, but I did go see the new Ant-Man film on Sunday. It's not bad. It's better than it's fine. I'm not gonna be spoilery, Matt. I'll just say it's not bad. It's definitely better than what the critics have been saying
when
about
that can of rain came out. That was pretty scary.
If you just want an entertaining film, it's fine. It's not groundbreaking. It's not something you're going to be like, hey, I want to watch Ant-Man, in later viewings. But I mean, it's fine.
That's kind of how like the last Thor was. Like,
right, exactly.
Like I liked it, and looking back at it, it's like, oh, I like. But when I go to watch it, I'm not kind of like, oh, I need to see this or something.
Well, I mean, one guy I think summed it up best in his review was, it's kind of like eating your 500th Big Mac. It's like, you love eating a Big Mac. It's great, but it's nothing that's going to blow your doors away either.
I mean, the one thing that I guess I was just disappointed to know is that McKay and Rudd, they didn't have a chance at the script, or they didn't have because the other two movies they have credit on as being writers and having kind of, I think, that comedic aspect. I mean, there's certain funny things that I just enjoyed about those other two movies.
How was Evangeline Lilly? Was she?
Oh man, it's kind of sad in a way. Like Chris wrote to me privately. It was like, were they purposely trying to make Evangeline not hot? Because she has a very terrible haircut, but it's because her character in the comic books always has short hair, and her character didn't have a lot to do either. And so it was kind of
are they trying to phase her out because of all her?
Oh, I don't know about that, but it just.
Well, she's an anti-vaxxer. She says a lot of controversial things, and
I mean, I'm
not saying that she shouldn't work for that. I don't care, but
but yeah, I mean, she's fine. I mean, she didn't have any memorable scenes or anything, so it's.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see.
Did she have like a love interest? I mean, she's in love with Ant-Man and Cockroach Man.
No, there's no triangle on this one. But but to me, this was in some ways not as bad as the new Black Panther. Whereas the new Black Panther, you could have easily edited 30 minutes out of that movie and made it a lot better.
Yeah, it was interesting because I was surprised that my kids actually enjoyed it.
Really?
Like they were like, "Oh yeah, I liked," they were, and I was like, "Really? Okay." Because I had a phone call, I got taken away. We were watching it together, and then I didn't. And then when I went back and watched the rest of it, I was like, "Okay, like I understand this is kind of like from getting here to there, but I felt like it could have done it in a fun way or in a satisfying way, but or."
That's funny.
John, the retired guy, says she falls in love with Raid Man.
Yeah. Raid,
who's great in Blackjack.
Like to me, I remember I watched the Black Panther not too long ago. Just because it's free on Disney Plus. I was like, oh, okay, I'll watch it. And to me, I realized that it was written before Chadwick died, and so they had to add in scenes. But then it's like, if you're going to add in stuff, then you should cut out stuff. And to me, the whole scientist, Ironheart storyline should have been cut because it's not important to the story. You could have easily just said something like, "Oh, the Americans now have invented a machine to discover vibranium," and then that would have been served the same exact purpose. Like, there's no reason to have that character or that story arc in the movie.
Unless it's a setting up thing.
That's a setting up. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But it didn't serve it for that purpose in the movie. So it was like, oh, well, you could have gotten rid of that. There's definitely some stuff that could have been edited out.
I mean, I think Marvel just runs the risk here because of, you have Wakanda Forever that felt like a sad movie in many ways, right? Like, and then what they did with Wanda and Doctor Strange and those characters, it really took it in more of a darker, kind of sadder tone. I mean, like, I don't know. And then I just wonder, like, if Ant-Man, if this new Ant-Man also has a darker tone and just leaves it, when are we going to get that brighter, lighter side of the Marvel movies where it's fun to watch and just,
when are we going to get back to making real movies?
Well, no, I mean, just like there's a fun lightheartedness to some of those early ones where it didn't take itself so seriously, but as we're going along, we get more and more and more serious, and it's almost like you have to infuse some of that humor. I mean, we see it with other TV shows. You always have to have that character or that tone that kind of keeps it pace.
keeps it
loose. Keeps it loose, keeps it fresh. Keeps it rambling.
Like I said, Ant-Man definitely has some parts that are funny, but it's. Like I said, it's just nothing you're going to be like, oh, that was so good. It's just a solid B. That's what I get. Okay. Like, it's just a solid
B. That's the best review I've heard so far.
That's just what it is.
And from Nick.
From Nick.
Yeah.
So that's saying a lot. I mean, wow, solid B.
Yeah.
Because I've heard you gave like The Godfather a D. I'm just movies.
It was funny. I was trying to explain The Godfather to my family because, like, my wife. I mean, she's maybe seen clips or stuff, but she's never watched it. And then my daughter, has no interest, and so I'm just explaining the plot to Godfather and all of these different things, and it's like, oh, so it's kind of like this one thing in this other movie. And I said, yes, that's referencing this. This is where it happens. And then the horse head, and they're like, oh, so that's the, and they're like kind of putting all of it. But it was funny because they were getting they were getting the Reader's Digest version from me as I act through different. And then in the second part, he kisses him, and he's like,
so.
I knew it was you, Fredo. You broke my heart.
That's number 2, though.
No, I
That's
did.
That's 2.
He said 2. I said 2.
Yeah.
I was saying, like,
hey, you want to go fishing, Fredo?
I just did the main 2.
No, I don't want to go fishing.
He always catches a fish though, because he says a Hail Mary.
He catches a bullet too.
A Hail Mary is actually pretty long. If you do the full Hail Mary.
Well, it takes a while for the hook to get down to where it's supposed to be.
Like if you do a Hail Mary, I don't know if I've recently had this experience of the Catholicism experience of experiencing a full Hail Mary, and it's long. It's a long kind of process.
Well, Michael killing Fredo, what was his son's name? Michael, right?
Michael, I'm pretty sure it's he named him after himself. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It fucked him up so much so he became an opera singer. So, yeah, because Fredo was his best friend. Am I right?
Oh, right, gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, Fredo was his best friend. So he said, oh no, it was Anthony. Anthony, say goodbye to your mother. Anthony, say goodbye to your mother.
It's been a while since I've watched those.
That was Adrian from Rocky.
So Matt, going back to White Lotus, have you gotten to that scene? I think it's in the episode you probably just finished, where they visit the house from Godfather Part 1, and
yeah.
And the kid, I would have smacked the shit out of him. He's like, oh well, the Godfather is just I was like, shut up.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh man.
There was F. Murray, his name.
Abram.
Yeah. That the actor that plays the granddad though, he got nominated, for that role for this season, and it's the cutest thing you'll see ever on a red carpet. Like he's walking, and because he is a famous actor, but he's not a famous actor,
right?
And you see him walking down the red carpet. He's just being what he is, because he's like 83 or 84 or something like that. And all of a sudden, this just group of people start cheering, and he's just looking around, and he looks up at them, and he realizes they're cheering for him. And you just see this look of you've seen this look on his face before, but it's pure delight on his face.
You see it because he gives it, and when he acts, you see that
when he acts,
But he has a very genuine
F. Murray Abraham, but he realizes it's for him, and you just see that he just gets that little sparkle in his eyes, like, oh my God, these people are here for me, and like it's really he's been
in a lot.
Oh, he has been in so much stuff, and very recognizable, actor. But
he was in that one also where was it Ice Cube or Ice T, where they're trying to kill him. He's a homeless guy, and they hire him. That's Ice T. Ice T.
Yeah. Shit, it's like 94, 93. Yeah.
I don't know the year. It was in the 90s.
Where they're hunting him. Yeah, they're hunting
him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good movie.
Yeah.
Underrated.
I forget the name. I remember seeing it. Yeah. They made a lot of those. No, yeah, something like that.
Fuck Dean Spanos, said
F. Dean Spanos, that's his name. But I mean, I always, of course, remember him from Amadeus. When I think of him, I automatically
Amadeus. I forgot about that.
He killed Mozart.
Rocky Amadeus. Anyway, whatever happened to that guy? He was in obviously Animal House. He was in
Animal House. Yeah.
Amadeus, but he was also in the movie with it's the family movie. He's the son that's always coming home asking for money. He's the deadbeat son.
Dinner,
He has a kid.
brother.
He has a
That's
kid.
the
And he
only-
leaves the kid with the parents.
Oh, that's the only two I know.
Parents. Come on, where's Matt Treese? God damn it!
We only
Yeah,
have Matt K tonight.
I know that I brought this up before, but
Well, you're not helping me with my answer here.
But going to Amadeus, the person that they wanted actually, the person that
They actually wanted the-
Michael J. Fox.
They wanted Mark Hamill.
Oh, really?
Did they?
Huh.
Mark Hamill was currently doing Amadeus on Broadway when they were going to make that film, and it was superb playing Amadeus. And I had never seen a recorded version of the stage play, but the producer, who has of course the most sway, said, "I'm not putting fucking Luke Skywalker in my movie," and that basically killed it. And I wonder how Mark Hamill's career
would have changed
if he would have been in an Oscar-nominated movie like Amadeus.
Yeah, no, and if he had played it so many times on Broadway, you'd think that he would have had the chops to carry that onto the screen.
It's
right?
Parenthood.
So. I almost said Parenthood, but I've only seen that one time. It's forever. So,
it's a shame. It's a shame that people get typecast like that, and you can't. It's like, okay.
But it's the same thing.
I don't think it happens as much anymore, does it?
What happens to a lot of Star Wars people? Because you look, or James Bond people too.
Well, James Bond, yeah. Well, no, Sean Connery was able to.
But you look at his career from when he actually stopped and You Only Live Twice. He came back for the one in 71, Diamonds Are Forever, or whatever it is. He came back. But his 70s career is not.
She's having a baby.
Yeah. Because he's James Bond. His name is for Bond women. Like, look at Halle Berry. She won literally the Oscar, did a James Bond film, and then her career went in the shitter.
Jane Seymour was fine.
Yeah, that's Jane Seymour.
Just saying.
But I mean, she still had to become the medicine woman in order to really
and that was
cement
20
her
years
legacy.
later.
Yeah. So
but when we have her on the show, we'll ask.
And
her,
I think it's also too. I mean, for women in Hollywood, they have a shelf life because the producers think, oh, I need to keep going younger and younger and younger.
But is it as bad as it was?
Oh, it's still that way.
I mean,
I'm sure it's still that way.
I'm sure it's.
I mean, it's baked into Hollywood.
But they do have more roles for older people because
they do, yeah. But
that's what I'm saying. It's still terrible, but they do have.
And I think the writing for women has definitely improved in the fact that we can have shows for older women in different roles, that it's not just like, oh, you're a psychotic mom on a break, having a breakdown, or you're,
which is normal.
Right.
We've talked about stuff like this before, because
she broke the shelf life.
Well, there's a couple of actors I can think of where it's usually your breakout role as an actor. People think that's what you can do, and they want to cast you as that from that point on. Because like a movie that Jack watches, Rudy, for example, Jon Favreau could not get a role after Rudy because he was fat in Rudy. And people wanted him to be the fat.
What was the thing you guys? What did you guys share on the Instagram? Was it Robbie?
Oh, Robbie, that was Jack.
Oh, that was me. Yeah.
He's shit. I'm serious, man.
I know the playbook. I know the playbook. Every play, he's next play. But Jon Favreau. We're
talking about an SNL sketch
as the friend, role, but they wanted him to be fat. But he had lost so much weight after Rudy because he hated the way he looked on the screen, and so the fact that he didn't get a job for 3 years led him to write Swingers. So he just cast himself in his own movie. But if he hadn't done that, he probably would have never gotten another acting job. And it's the same as like Will Ferrell when they were making Elf. They did not want to cast Will Ferrell in Elf because he was not bankable. The only movie he had done was Ninth Roxbury, which was a massive flop.
Yeah, and Superstar. He had done that.
Yeah, and Superstar, right. And so it just so happened that Old School was released.
Right.
And so they went.
Did you recently listen to the Will Ferrell interview on
No.
Fly on the Wall? They had I think it's a live taping. It's pretty good. Fly on the Wall podcast where they interviewed Will Ferrell. It's pretty good because they talk about that. They talk about Elf and they talk about the release of Old School, because Old School was in the can basically, and it kind of sat on the shelf there before it was actually released. So, but yeah, it was good. It's pretty. I don't know. I enjoy that that show. They recently also interviewed Paul Rudd as well. So, who's a big Beatles fan.
He's also a vampire. But
yeah. He's also a Chiefs fan.
A Chiefs fan.
Chiefs fan, yeah. He's from Kansas City.
Oh.
Huh. Oh, I thought you said a cheese fan.
I thought you said cheese as well.
Who's a fan of cheese?
I was like Packers
fans,
or just a general like cheese connoisseur.
People from Vermont.
He's a cheese fan, I should say.
What else was I gonna say about actors?
You were gonna say something else about whatever I interrupted you about.
Yeah,
so no, you're talking about
actors. I know actors and being typecast and all that. But
Jack, seriously.
No, again, if I did it, I would own up to it. I'm proud of him.
Okay. Carry on.
Carry on.
Love is coming.
I did want to talk about something that's in the news.
Are you really? Can we not just, we're so close to wrapping the show.
We'll wrap it up really quick. I don't know if you've been following the story about the Alabama basketball player.
Oh, right. That.
Who, Brandon Miller, who's like a top lottery pick, gave a gun to Darius Miles, a teammate, and he killed somebody. He killed a 23-year-old mom. And I don't know I haven't read the whole thing. But yet this Brandon Miller is still playing,
right?
And the DA said, "Well, there's nothing we can charge him with."
Right?
Because his fucking gun. I go,
it's one of those weird. That's kind of like before we hit record. Jack and I were very briefly talking about this, and it's one of those loopholes in a way, because it's not aiding and abetting, because you can't prove that he gave him a gun for the intent of killing these people, and and it's not accessory either for the same reasons. Because it's like the same thing as Matt or Jack going like, "Hey, can I borrow your hammer?" And I go, "Yeah, I'll bring it over to your house." And then you hit someone on the head with it. It's like it's not my fault that you used the tool to kill somebody.
I did hit Nancy Pelosi's husband. You gave me.
You're that guy. Well, we saw the videotape, so
it was me.
Yep.
I mean, I'm all for like kids that if I leave my gun out and my kid kills somebody with my gun, I'm all for punishing parents for allowing access their kids for. But it's
like taking, I mean, I guess we have to have some rules or laws in place in order to at least enforce or
but there should be
prevent,
again. You're not telling me that Darius Miles said to Brandon Miller, "I need a gun. What for?"
Right. Yeah, you need to know why.
I mean, he knew what the guy wanted the gun for.
Yeah,
I mean, you don't give see, that's the problem too.
So going back to the sad note that I wanted to bring up, but John, the retired guy, had mentioned he'd gone through the Robin Williams tunnel today, and I had learned about this statistic today that after his suicide rates had gone up.
Oh,
and that's a sad thing to realize, is that when a celebrity like that at that level would take their life, that it would inspire others to go ahead and take their own life. And it's just a horrible thing.
I was shocked when he but he had the same thing my dad had. And I go, okay, I'm not shocked on why he killed himself, because obviously, I can see. Why...
he wouldn't have wanted others to do that.
No.
But so then it's just like, oh, well, would the public have been better to have known that he just died peacefully?
Well, they're not going to report that.
Yeah, they're
But I think if more people knew what Robin Williams had,
I
think they'd go, okay, I got it. And
Right.
maybe people,
Right.
maybe people wouldn't be
but
going, okay, I'm going to kill myself because Robin Williams killed himself.
But we're also talking about people that are thinking about that sort of thing and not thinking in terms of like, I'm already depressed. I have a clinical depression.
Robin Williams
and then
can't be happy.
Then why can I? I mean, like, yeah. So if this guy that played Mrs. Doubtfire, then I'm going to doubt the fire of this gun. I don't know. I don't know what the but it's a horrible way for him to have dealt with dying. And I know,
but there was no way they weren't going to report it. I mean,
right?
Unless yeah, it's. But
I agree with everything you're saying.
Yeah,
but but again, you need, okay, why did he do it?
Sure.
Why did he? But they don't report that. They just go, "Oh, Robin Williams killed himself."
Mm-hmm.
Because when I first heard that, I go, "Why the fuck would Robin Williams kill himself?"
Well, it's
and then my wife's first one that told me he had what your dad had, I go, "Oh."
Mm-hmm.
It's like I'm sure you guys heard, Bruce Willis's conditions got rapidly worse. And I wouldn't be surprised if something happens with him in the next year or two. It's just because once you start losing your memory and you don't know anything anymore, it's like.
And it's not to say that it's up to the celebrity to do this in this way, because I mean, like they're just trying to live their life, or to die in peace, basically. Mm-hmm. But if you had a celebrity clause where you're just like, as of I die, like it is illegal to report this about me. I am choosing to end my life this way.
You put that out there, they'll find it even more.
I just, it'd be, the way that people respond to celebrities is, we respond to them in positive ways and we respond to them in negative ways.
Oh, no doubt.
But
we have them too high and we put them too low.
And the reality is, and for everybody that's listening, is that the ones that you're close to, the people that in day-to-day life, those are the people that matter. And that these celebrities, you might appreciate them or idolize them in some way, but their death, and their,
you
love the ones you're with.
Well, I'm saying Robin Williams might not even known he was killing himself. He might have had some illusion that someone was killing him. I mean, it's I like I said, I've witnessed it. It's the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. I mean, my dad was a intelligent, level-headed, and literally I was like going, what the fuck?
Mm.
I mean, it was just like I see it every day, and it's like, I was like, and I go, oh, it's hereditary, great.
So, it's hereditary.
Yeah. So I'm like going, sometimes when I'm like, okay, I like see something like corner of my eye, I go, no, that can't be it. Because he was just literally, I mean, it's just, he would see animals running around. He saw people coming to attack him. So I don't know what Robin Williams was going through. And in fact, the amazing thing about Robin Williams, the year before that, he had the TV show with Sarah Michelle Gellar, where it only lasted a season. I go, well, how is he doing that show? And he had that issue because my dad hid it for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
We thought my dad was in the beginning of it, and it turned out he was in the end of it because he just would, there was, looking back now, you see it, but at the time you don't. Like I said, that's why you need to pay attention to, what's going on, with, like I think you were saying, Matt, with your loved ones and stuff like that, so you can kind of. But I had no idea. Anyway, that's all I got.
I mean, I get the celebrity thing, kind of what Matt was saying, though, because I think Robert Redford was talking about it and like how he dealt with being famous in an interview, and that people, depending on what period they're in their lives, identify with characters, that you play.
Right.
And they sometimes relate to almost a negative effect sometimes where, you think, oh, you played a dad and your version of that dad made me feel like I had a dad, or or you're similar to my dad, or whatnot. Just any kind of character. And he goes, I have to realize that a lot of times. He's talking about this when he's getting older. He's like, that they're not really appreciative of me. They're appreciative of that character. Right. And that's with Robin Williams especially. Like, how many loving roles did he play?
Well, I mean, we watch these shows, we watch TV shows again and again, so like as you're used to a certain actress or actor and you see them in that age and then you see them again in something else and then you're just like, oh, that's not them, or I don't find them as attractive, or that's not who I believe them to be, and it's like they're just human beings, it's just a role.
Right. That's what Harrison Ford was talking about that not too long ago, about how he goes, I don't like.
I know who I fucking am.
Yeah. Well, he goes, I don't like the concept of fans. He goes,
he said that.
Yeah, he goes, I don't like the idea of fans. He goes, to me, it's silly. He goes, I think of them as customers. He's like, it's the only way I can deal with it. It's like, oh, you liked this job that I did. Thanks for being a great customer. I mean, to me, it's whatever, but it's just the
well, I think it's certain ways you have to cope with it. I mean, it's just like
right. I mean,
some people get so like the Beatles. John Lennon got killed because he was famous. I mean, it's just
right.
And there's certain levels of fame where it's like, okay, the Beatles were just up here. Elvis Presley was up here. Different actors and stuff.
John Lennon got killed because he failed us, Jack. He failed us, and it all goes back to The Catcher in the Rye. And what did Holden Caulfield do? He caught them as he fell off the cliff. But no, Lennon didn't. He's a phony, and that's what adulthood is about.
It was a government setup, Jack, because he spoke out against Nixon, and he chose to be quiet so he could get his American citizenship.
Right, and Reagan was coming to power.
Yep.
You got to deal with it.
He's put out a record. He's going to do radical stuff. Let's kill him.
And you know who signed the order? George Bush.
Oh, CIA. Yeah.
Makes
sense.
I mean, he was the vice president, and Reagan was just like, "Get it done." He was just like pissed off, and he was just like,
because Nancy spent some time with John.
Well,
exactly.
I guess you just gotta go get it done there, George.
Nancy's a big Beatle fan, and I can't have his cock in her mouth.
Oh my god.
Anyway,
on that note,
I did want to thank Sherry for on our Facebook page asking people to go give us a 5-star review.
Oh yeah,
you really deserve it. So thank you, Sherry.
I'm definitely not on there.
If like John the Retired Guy said that currently Harrison Ford is riding a horse in the snow in 1923. If you haven't seen 1923 yet, it's must-see TV.
Okay.
It's the whole Yellowstone story, and you don't have to see Yellowstone in order to understand 1923. I mean, it's basically it's all set around the Dutton Ranch and how they became there. But could you end this show so I can watch the second half of the Warriors game? All right, John, we're gonna go for another half hour. It's just
you can turn this off.
They're playing the Lakers. They're playing the Lakers. Episode title: I can't have his cock in her mouth.
I don't think that'll fly.
We're really pushing the boundaries.
All we are saying is give cock a chance. Is that how the song goes?
Yeah.
Anyway, so thanks, Sherry.
We did get an email.
Way to bastardize.
I don't know if I should read it or not because apparently it was my fault, according to some other people.
That's what I don't know how you got blamed for that, but somehow you got blamed for it.
Yeah, so it's from Maggie, whoever that is.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
I've not read this email, so this is news.
It's apparently it's referring to something we talked about a few weeks back.
Okay, so it has nothing to do with
the title is Super Bowl tickets. Even though you are included in the hello. Hey, Jack, Nick, Boston, and Matt. You talked about how much it costs to go to the Super Bowl in the past, and I thought I'd give you the current update. I got a text from my dad, a long life Eagles fan. I'm sorry. From outside of Philly.
Good game.
And he was going to the Super Bowl on Sunday. I asked him how much the tickets were, and he said $5,000 each.
Oh my God,
Maggie.
that is that. I mean,
Oh,
I don't know. I don't know.
I'm curious. Did it include a hot dog?
Yeah, it's mostly a hot dog. Yeah.
$5,000, and you get one free wiener.
Randy, if you're still listening, I'll get to this winter activities one in another episode.
Well, would you guys, if you had the money, would you pay $5,000 for a
hot dog? It better be a good damn hot dog.
Randy, I'll get to both of these next week because these are good debate questions.
Yeah, we did have something. Maxwell Davenport.
Wait, what?
On our YouTube page said, "Thank God Matt is back. He's the cream in my coffee. He's the egg in my hollandaise sauce."
Jesus.
Although Nick didn't perform a program. Although Nick didn't perform on this program, a smile upon his face because Matt is the sausage in my pizza.
Dang.
And then someone replied, "Now if we can just get Matt back to producing, I'd be happy."
Wait, that Jack wrote that one.
I
don't know who wrote that one. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure Jack wrote that one. Nobody said that I needed to produce this show.
A lot of people said it.
You're looking the wrong way.
Miami Mike said, "I think I'd go crazy ridiculous 5,000 trip instead of the Super Bowl."
There's so many things I'd rather spend $5,000 on than a football game.
Oh, I'm going to Alaska in August. So
nice.
I'm going
Cindy
to Disney
and I decided, my brother-in-law, my sister sent a thing. Siblings, you want to go to Alaska cruise? I went, shit, I'm in.
Taking a cruise?
Yeah, taking a cruise too. We're gonna fly. I've never been to Canada. I've never been to Alaska. Never been.
You were like, AK, and they were like, what? And you're like, AK. It's because that's.
I got it.
Thanks.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. Anything else we got?
Well, we're almost 2 hours. So.
What day? What day? The 26th, I think.
Oh. He's gonna stop.
Oh, they're going in August. Oh no.
Oh, nice. It's on the same boat.
I'm sorry, John. How did you fall overboard?
Yeah. Oh, look, a whale.
We are going whale watching and zip lining, I think, is what we're going to be doing.
Okay.
I'm a whale watcher.
I mean, when I went, which it was 20 years ago,
watching those whales go by.
A lot of times you could just sit on the deck, Jack, and see the whales. At least.
Jack sits on no man's deck.
John is going on the Princess. I don't know what ours is called. Maybe the Queen. I don't know what the airline.
What? Why is it always got to be a woman's name? Queen, Princess.
They're going out of San Francisco. We're going out of Vancouver.
You're writing on the Cockadoo.
Oh, Canada.
You're probably in Royal Caribbean. Probably what you're doing.
I don't know.
Writing on the steam shaft.
My wife's hoping she doesn't get seasick because
you don't. Those boats are so big.
As long as you have your cabin in the dong of the ship, you're okay.
Oh, the dong of the ship. There you go.
Trying to really cram as much.
I'm really looking forward. I've always wanted to go to Alaska.
Hour.
It was like a spur of the moment. I was like, should we go? Yeah. How are we gonna afford it? I don't know yet, but we'll go. So
just sell one of your grandkids. You got plenty.
Sell one of your.
And I got another one. I got another one on the way. So
wow.
Like,
you're not giving birth to it.
May. I have to watch them.
Well, in that case, may the force be with you. This was a great show, kids. 1 in a million.
Wait.
Folks.
We thank everybody who listens to our show and watches and joins us in the chat. Next week, if we're all together, we'll have our 200th. We'll have our 200th. We'll have our 200th episode with Chris coming back to tell us great stories about how he made a lifesaver saber, and that'll be a lot of fun.
I'm sure how he punched somebody at Disney World too.
Yeah, I'm sure he punched up some old.
He
person.
punches down. It was a Jawa.
Yeah. But sell your stock in RCAD to pay for it. Yes, that stock is worth lots. Anyway, at this time we thank all our patrons, but we're going to thank Eckhart Rickner Glaffeler, Maggie the Magnificent, who finally got her email read. Thanks, Nick. Joanne with a plan, and Ed the creepy poopy letter carrier. Thanks for what you do, and thanks for everyone who do, and thanks for those 10 5-star reviews on iTunes. It was really nice to see that we got it. And also, hey, subscribe to our show.
Yes,
Just
on
our
YouTube.
channel.
Yeah.
We're still stuck at 108. Sure, that was cool because it's lost. But no, we want to go past 108. Also, click the bell. You'll know when we're recording. And that's all I got.
If we make it to 200, maybe I'll come back as producer, huh? Jack's like, I'm on a mission. I will create 98 more.
I still think we just rotate it every week. Everybody has to take a turn.
Yeah, you convince Chris that, and then I'll get on board. Good night, folks.
I'm all for it, Jack, but you have to do what I do on some of those weeks.
What?
You gotta write a song. You gotta write a song.
My name is RCAD.
You gotta take notes. You gotta write to Colleen.
All right.
Do.
It was easier though when Matt did it. I said, "What night are we doing it?" Okay, I'm good.
I know. It's so much easier.
All right, guys. Hasta luego and good. Bye.
See ya.
They can't hear you when you're doing that, Matt.
I don't need to